Добрый день. Я приветствую всех, кто уже присоединился к первой конференции X5 по устойчивому развитию.
Conference for Sustainable Development, X5 Group's first Sustainability Conference. I'm Elena Konova, Director for Corporate Communications, and I'm Alexander Patykhin, entrepreneur, host of events, and it's very pleasant to welcome all of you here today. And before we start, Elena, let us take a brief view into what we are going to see today. Many people have joined us today in virtual and in offline setting. We have invited our partners, experts, and our suppliers, and we'll discuss sustainable retail. Today we have a hybrid event, offline format here and online format outside of this room. And if you're not in Moscow and not in our pavilion today, it means that you are viewing us through your screens. And that is really cool. Yes, and today we would like to listen to your opinions. We would like to take your questions and try to give answers. And to do that, we have special communication channels. Online, you can see this special chat under the streaming window, and if you are present offline, you can open that stream and ask your questions as well. And during the panel discussions here on the scene, we will have a special polling window. Please select the option that is preferable for you, and you can use the QR code, scan it, and see the options, and choose the one that you're in favor of, and we will see the results. Some of the questions will be asked to the moderators and speakers of our sessions. Other questions that will be addressed to X5 will be answered by our X5 sustainability team. The questions that we won't be able to answer right now, we will answer them later, and we will send all the answers later. And if you can see us and hear us in Russian, but don't understand what they're saying, simply go to the English version of our website.
This is the right moment to switch on the English version of our website. There is a special button in the corner, in the right corner of the site.
Лена, спасибо большое за то, что ты помогла нашим англоговорящим друзьям. Ну, сегодня мы будем не только говорить об инициативах в области устойчивого развития, но и самое главное, мы с вами будем действовать.
We will take action, right? Yes, that's true. In the year 2015, together with the Rus Foundation, implemented the Basket of Kindness social project. It uses the food drive technology. It's an infrastructure that enables to collect food aid and hand it over to people in need. And here we have a dedicated corner in the right part of our room where you can participate in this program and make a donation. By the way, not only offline visitors, but also online viewers can participate in this initiative. Please visit the website, select the food set that you would like to donate. And you can choose sets not only for people, but also for pets. That's really cool. And by the way, online participants and offline participants can use QR codes. And by the way, offline participants have that QR code on their badges, and you can use it throughout our whole conference. And you haven't mentioned the badges. Yes, your badges are truly magical because they're made of recycled thyme seeds. It's recycled paper with thyme seeds, and you can try to plant those thyme seeds and grow it and add it to your tea. But if you don't want to do it yourself, we can do it for you. So that's actually that we wanted to mention at the beginning. We are ready to start the conference, but I have one question that I would like to address to our participants who have joined us online. When I was invited as participant, as co-host here, I take a look at the website of this event,
изучил данную проблематику. Я понял, что там есть несколько векторов направлений. Там говорится об экологии, о здоровье, об общественно-социальной поддержке. До конца, конечно, не понимаю, как это все может быть взаимосвязано, тем более через призму ритейла. Поэтому я не только сюда пришел работать, я сюда пришел, конечно же, познакомиться вот с этой концепцией и с этой темой. И у меня вопрос ко всем участникам. Зачем вы сюда пришли? То есть какой ответ вы хотите получить? Возможно, какой-то вопрос. Если у вас есть желание или возможность ответить, пожалуйста, поднимите руку. У нас есть специальные помощники, которые вам дадут микрофон. Зачем вы сегодня здесь?
Speak out,
Просим
please raise your hands,
да, у нас есть,
and
пожалуйста, вот рука в зале.
we'll bring the microphone to you. Yes, we have one person eager to say a couple of words.
X5 ворвался в
ESG-повестку, has ventured into ESG agenda, and I would like to learn more about it.
Вот, пожалуйста,
Yes,
можно
there
сюда
are
микрофон, если
more
не трудно.
questions and more introductions.
Вы нет, вы просто решили...
You simply, you don't want to say anything. Oh, please go ahead. I represent Accord, and the environment is a very important topic for us, and X5 group is a front runner, so we would like to learn more about what X5 have already achieved. And we have another person who wants to say the back rows.
Микрофончик уже у вас.
You already have the microphone.
Добрый день, меня зовут Анастасия.
Hello, I'm Anastasia.
Suez,
Child Villages, charitable organization that helps orphans. In the year 2021, X5 Retail has joined our program, and we would like to learn more about the plans of the company for the upcoming years. So what is your vision for the future? Thank you very much. Will we discuss it today? Yes, we will discuss social programs, and the third session, the discussion, will be dedicated to that subject. To us, sustainable business development means thinking not only about today, but also about the future. When we plan our actions, not by tracking our market share or shareholder value, but also the influence on society. We need to understand what people expect from us and what the society expects from us, and what can we do. That's why we want to share what we are doing right now, to get your feedback and to find out whether we are doing what is right. I think that's a very good approach to go along the same lines. Thank you very much. It's much clearer for me why we are here today. So I think we can start. So it's our first
Друзья, давайте вместе сделаем выбор в пользу будущего. Поехали!
Let us make the choice for a better future.
Привет. Я Земля.
I'm Earth. Maybe it's very strange to hear my voice to you, but you know, I'm not just a planet. I'm the ice, the glacier ice, and trees outside, waves and wet sand. I'm the bread during your breakfast and everything around you. Yes, it's not easy to live with me. I have my own laws. And you're people, and you are special. You're not me. You're just a part of me. I have lived for so many years without you. And maybe one day you will fly to Mars and abandon me. But now, while we are all together, only you can make people's life better, longer, more prosperous. Every day you make a choice in favor of the future. How delicious will your breakfast be tomorrow? Maybe it will be also healthy. And only you can make the choice to help the planet, to help people around you. I can help you as I can, but I cannot do everything. Remember it and act more sustainable.
Лен, действительно, те тезисы, которые только что прозвучали, они очень важны. Ведь то, что мы делаем в первую очередь для себя, для своего будущего и для будущих наших поколений. Я все чаще об этом задумываюсь.
And I think more and more about it. Yes, I have been thinking about it for a long time more. And global and local reasons contribute to that. But before moving on to the discussion, we would like to briefly introduce the sustainability report of X5 for the last year. You can see that report in ESG session on our website, but today we would like to present the highlights. Why is it important to us? We think that the role of big corporation is to set clear priorities, to assume responsibilities, and to make public promises, and then report. It seems to be quite boring and formal, but actually that's a foundation that is really important for us, so that our corporation, more than 300,000 people, move in the same direction. And to present that report, I would like to invite Igor Shekhterman.
Good morning and good afternoon. It's my pleasure to greet all of you at our first conference for sustainable development. And I'm happy to greet everyone here offline and all those who are joining online. That's extremely important for us. And this is why we have such a big team of our colleagues from X5. So we are speaking about sustainable development. What does it mean for each and everyone? Probably it is about the environment, it is about social programs, it is about decent working conditions, and fundamentally it is about the life quality today and for the future generations. And today I would like to present to you a report about our sustainable activities last year. And for the first time, we are using the GRI standards. And for the first time, the report was certified by independent auditors. And when preparing this report, we ran a survey among our stakeholders. What topics and areas of sustainable development they saw as the most crucial for our company. And we made sure that these topics fit our strategic priorities, and today I would like to share with you the first results. As you know, our company employs over almost 350,000 people in 18,000 stores under Peterочка, Перекресток, Carousel, and Чижик brands. Our digital businesses are progressing fast. We cooperate with over 6,000 suppliers in most regions of the country. We are a huge company, and we are fully aware of our social responsibility. And the core of our business is understanding our customers. We do see that our customers are showing more and more interest to responsible consumption and sustainable use of resources. We have been witnessing that in the international markets as well as in Russia. And we definitely study the world's best practices in the field of ESG, and what the investors say is important to us. We also listen to their voices and recommendations of environmentalists, public organizations and foundations. It is extremely important for us to be in harmony with the society, and we are the trendsetters. We set the tone for the entire retail industry. We create sustainable practices that are accessible to our partners, suppliers and colleagues. As you know, in our 2023 strategy, the business goals, and we showed that they are just as important. And they were approved by the Supervisory Board in December 2019. Last year, despite of the difficulties of the COVID-19, we looked at the specific indicators, determined the roles of each business, and sustainable development goals have become part of the long-term incentive scheme for the managers. And today,
Итак,
it is
наши
our
цели
pleasure
базируются
to
на
show to
глобальных
you
целях
a
ООН и
report for the
национальных
first full
целях
year
России до
of
2030
our
года.
work. Our
4
goals are
цели
based on
стали
the
нашим
global goals
приоритетом.
of the United
Первое
Nations
– это
and the
поддержка
national
местных
goals of
сообществ
Russia
через
until
расширенное
2030.
расширение
Goal
социальных
number one
инвестиций и
is
благотворительных
supporting
программ.
local
Второе
communities through
–
expanding
содействие
social
ответственному
investments
потреблению
and
и
charitable
использованию ресурсов.
programs. Number two
Третье
is
–
promoting
обеспечение
responsible
достойных
consumption
условий
and
труда
use
и
of
равных
resources.
возможностей для всех
Three,
наших
ensuring
сотрудников.
decent
И
working
четвертое
conditions
– это
and equal
содействие здоровому
opportunities for
образу
all
жизни,
employees.
доступности
And number
качественных и
four,
полезных продуктов
promoting
на полках
healthy
наших магазинах.
ensuring
Каждая из этих
availability
целей
of
имеет конкретные
quality and
показатели до
healthy foods. Each of these goals have
2023-2030 года.
specific indicators until
В поддержке местных
2023
сообществ
and
мы фокусируемся
2030.
на увеличении числа
In
семей,
supporting
получающих
local
продовольственную
communities, we
помощь, и
focus
на
on
развитии
increasing the
партнерских
number of
программ
families
с малым и
that
средним
get
бизнесом,
food aid and we
фермерами и
develop
локальными
partnership
производителями,
programs
а
with
также по
small
программе
and
помощи
medium-sized
потерявшимся людям
businesses,
«Островок
farmers and local
безопасности».
producers. And you probably
Если
remember
говорить о
about our
программе
program of
«Корзина доброты»,
assistance
то в
to
2015
people
году
who
мы
went
первыми в
astray
ритейле
at the
совместно с Фондом
aisle of
продовольственной помощи
safety.
«Русь»
And
запустили эту программу.
we also
Программа
have the basket
поддерживает
of kindness
неимущих граждан
program
через сбор
that we
в
do
наших
together
магазинах и
with the
доставку
Rus
продовольственной помощи.
Foundations. And
В
it
прошлом
is
году
the
мы
food
собрали и передали
drive to those
267
in
тонн
need.
продуктов.
And
Помощь
last
получили
year
более
alone we
142
collected
тысяч
and handed
человек.
over
В 2020 году
267 tons of food.
пандемия
More
затронула
than
каждого из нас.
142,000
Мы
people
помогли более
were
70
helped.
тысячам
In the
врачей.
past year,
Мы
we
доставляли
helped
обеды и
over
наборы во многие
70,000
больницы.
doctors.
Мы
We
трудоустроили
delivered packed
более 40
lunches
тысяч человек
and food
за
to
время
many
карантина.
hospitals. We have
Еще
employed
одна
more than
постоянная программа нашей
40,000 people
поддержки – это
during the
помощь
quarantine.
потерявшимся людям
Another
совместно с поисковым
program that
отрядом
we
«Лиза
have
Алерт».
is Lisa
Пятерочка первой
Alert.
запустила эту
And
программу в
Пятерочка was the
2019
first to
году.
launch this program
Перекресток
in
присоединился к этой
2019.
программе
It is
осенью прошлого
for
года. Сейчас почти в
finding
каждом
those
магазине
who
«Пятерочка» и
are lost.
«Перекресток»
Now,
есть
almost
островок
every
безопасности,
Пятерочка
где
and
обученные сотрудники
Перекресток has a
могут помочь
safety
потерявшимся
island
людям.
where the skilled
Только в
employees
прошлом
can
году
help people
мы
who lost
помогли
their
вернуть
way.
домой
Last year alone,
990
we
человек.
helped 990
Мы активно
people
поддерживаем
to
малый и
find their
средний
way
бизнес.
home. We have
Доля
actively
субъектов
supported
малого и
small
среднего бизнеса
and
среди
medium-sized
поставщиков
businesses.
С5
The share
составила
of
более
SMEs
70%
came
за прошлый
to
год.
70% for X5 in
1312 российских
2020.
поставщиков стали нашими новыми партнерами в
1,313 Russian
прошлом году.
suppliers became our new partners
Содействие
last
ответственному
year.
потреблению и
If you
использованию
look
ресурсов
at
– наш следующий
promoting
важный
responsible
приоритет.
consumption and use
До
of resources, it
2030
is
года
our
мы планируем снизить выбросы парниковых
next
газов на
important priority.
30%,
And until
снизить коэффициент
2030, we
образования
are planning
отходов
to
на
reduce greenhouse
30%.
gas emissions
Треть
by
энергии мы
30%,
планируем
reduce
использовать
the
из-за
waste
возобновляемых
generation
источников.
by
К
30%, and we plan
2023
to
году
use a
планируем:
third of energy
первое,
from
увеличить передачу
renewable
до
sources.
95%
By
долю
2023, we plan
перерабатываемых
to
твердых отходов,
increase the share of
образующихся в наших торговых
recyclable
сетях.
solid waste
Увеличить, второе,
generated
увеличить до
in our
40%
stores
передачу в
and
переработку
then
пищевых
further
продуктов,
recycled to
потерявших товарный вид до
95%.
истечения срока
And
годности.
we
И третье,
strive to
как минимум
increase to
половина товаров
40%
наших
the
собственных торговых марок
handover of food
будет в
products
более
that
экологичной
are
упаковке,
nearing
пригодной
expiration
для
for
вторичной переработки
further
и
use,
многоразовой.
and at least half of
Мы
our
развиваем
own
инфраструктуру сбора
private
тары на
labels
переработку.
will be
В прошлом
in
году
more
X5
environmentally
передала на
friendly
переработку
packaging,
более
and we are
620
developing
тысяч
the
тонн
infrastructure for
материалов
the
из
collection
собственных
of
операций. Это
packaging.
картон,
And
пленка и
last
другие.
year we
Наш Marketplace Прок
handed
собрал и отправил на переработку
620,000
более
tons of
240 тысяч
materials
пакетов.
for
В
recycling.
11 перекрестках
And
мы
it
проводим
is
эксперимент по разливу бытовой химии в
240,000
многоразовую тару с
plastic
брендом
bags at
«Биомил».
11 перекресток
Все
supermarkets.
пакеты в
We're
магазинах перекресток
experimenting
теперь на
with
треть сделаны из
bottling
вторичного
household
пластика.
chemicals in reusable
Пятерочка
containers.
уже
This
перевела
is
5
the
распределительных центров
Bio
на зеленую
brand.
энергию,
And
выработанную
Пятерочка
на
converted
гидроэлектростанциях.
5 of its RCs to green
97% магазинов
energy.
«Пятерочки»
And all
начали
bags in
предоставлять данные
перекресток
о
stores
потреблении
are now
энергии в режиме
one-third
реального
made of
времени.
recycled plastic.
В прошлом
97% of
году
our stores
Мы
have
разработали
started
климатическую
providing real-time
стратегию по
data on
стандартам
energy
TCFD.
consumption. Last year, we
Сделали
developed a
оценку
climate
наших
strategy
парниковых
based on
выбросов по скоп
TCFD
1, 2 и
standards.
3
That
согласно
is Task
международному
Force
протоколу
on
GHG.
Climate-related financial
Это
disclosures.
помогло
We
нам
made
снизить
an estimate
парниковые
of our
газы на
greenhouse
9%
emissions,
за
and
2020 год.
this
Мы
helped
первыми в
us
России
reduce greenhouse
разработали
gases by
детальные
9%
рекомендации
in
по ответственной
2020.
упаковке
We were
для
the
наших
first in Russia to
поставщиков.
develop detailed
Более 100
recommendations. For that. We have published recommendations for 13 categories of products, taking into account the characteristics, shelf life, availability on the market. And we urge our partners to use these guidelines to shape common industry standards. As to health, we want to increase the number of healthy and quality products that would help people in living a healthy life. Fruits, vegetables, and fresh produce should make up at least half of our store shelves. This goal is in line with the national goal of boosting the health and well-being. Healthy lifestyle products have already been allocated to separate shelves in 15,000 of our stores. We do understand that people want to eat healthy, and we will increase our range of healthy lifestyles. And our Перекресток supermarkets have a separate route in the store to buy healthy foods. And another important goal for us is related to our employees. Employees are our main asset. Therefore, we set ourselves the task of ensuring decent working conditions and equal opportunities for all our employees. What exactly does it mean? We want to be a #1 in the ranking of Russian employers among food retailers. We are doing our best to organize a healthy and safe workspace. Our employees should feel involved and have a comfortable working environment. A lot has been done in 2020. We have changed our training system, made it more flexible. We have carried out a special assessment of working conditions, and we are making sure that each workspace is as safe as possible. The employee turnover rate dropped by 11% in 2020 compared to 2019, which is much better than the market average. 74% of our employees are women. The gender pay gap is minimal. It's much better than in many Western companies. And everything I talked about is reflected in our new report on the ESG-X5.ru website. We have taken the first big step. Perhaps it was the most important psychologically. We realized that sustainable development is an integral part of our work, and we have to implement the ideas of sustainable development in every single business process, in every single solution. We call on all our colleagues to partner up. Only together can we make our entire industry truly sustainable for the long term in the interests of present and future generations. So far, Igor, we cannot let you go. We cannot let you go. Thank you. Thank you very much, though. And we would like to talk somewhat to our viewers both on and offline, and to see what their priorities are. And right now we can have a short poll. Now we have a question: which area of sustainable development looks like the most important? #1 is caring for the environment, reducing our ecological footprint. #2, charity and social investments. 3, promoting healthy lifestyles. And 4, ensuring decent working conditions and equal opportunities for employees. And what should everyone do? Those who are present with us here in the conservatory, scan the QR code that you now see in the screen. It will take you directly to the survey page. And while everyone is voting, I have a question to Igor. If you had to vote just for one, Igor, think which one you would choose. Let me remind you, number one, caring for the environment, reducing the ecological footprint. 2, charity and social investments. 3, promoting healthy lifestyles. And 4, ensuring decent working conditions and equal opportunities for employees. Which, shall we wait for the results of the poll? We can discuss things if you like. And let's first learn what you say, and then we'll see the results of the poll. It is hard to select any of those. I believe we have to equally focus on all of them. But for you personally, not as the company, I can tell you everything is important. Equal working conditions and caring for the environment. But right now, I believe is a pandemic, you feel more like promoting healthy lifestyles. But it is here and now. Right now, it is health for me. And this is what I would choose. Now, let's have a look at the poll results. We can see them on the screen. And caring for the environment and reducing our ecological footprint has 59%. Igor, what would you say? This is the environment. As I said before, I believe all of them are important, but I would probably agree with the participants of the poll. I believe that caring for the environment, reducing our ecological footprint is crucial. And this is what I said. And we have a say here. We can influence that. So I believe probably I would have also chosen that because it is a global problem, the problem for the whole planet. Thanks a lot, Igor. And let's move on. Okay, sure. Now, Elena, have a look. What a great answer the participants gave. And the sun has hidden, so it's not as hot as it used to be. But we are talking about the sustainable development and the environment. And every time when I come to the cash register, which bag should I choose? The one that I brought with me, or a paper bag, or a plastic bag? Sasha, you know, often it's not such a straightforward question. What is important? How the bag was made, and what do you do with it after you use it? What will happen with it? You can do different things with the bag. Yeah, there is a whole list. What will happen to it next? And this is what will help me decide. But in the first session, let's try to look at this topic through the lens of the experts who are going to speak about the role of retail in the environmental protection and everything about the packaging and the sustainable development. Are you the speaker there? Right now, I'm going to wear a somewhat different hat, and then it will be my pleasure to introduce our moderator and the moderator of our first session, how the companies change the environment. Tell you about the equator. I love my clothes, the oceans. I love the tides and the mountains. I love big cities too.
Правда?
They're beautiful.
Вы делаете меня
them.
очень стильной.
You make me really beautiful, really stylish.
Без ошибок, конечно.
Although you are also making some
Вовремя осмотреться. Понять, что все еще можно исправить.
Is to take time to look
И оставить
around
другой.
and to
Яркий
understand
след на моем
that you
облике.
have
Например,
time to
зеленый.
change things
У человека
and leave
всегда есть
something
выбор.
different behind.
Оставить все
The
так, как есть.
green
Или
trace.
A
поступить
human
правильно.
being always has a choice to opt for the status quo or to do what's right. Okay, now to the first session of the day with Ekaterina Devyatkina, who is head of the Plus One project. And I'm asking the participants to join us on the stage.
I'm happy to welcome all the participants at our session, Retail and Environment, How Companies Can Change the Environment. I'm Ekaterina Devyatkina. I'm head of Consulting and Analytics Department, Plus One project. I'll moderate this session. And today we will discuss what is the contribution of companies to saving the environment and what are the challenges that we are facing. And I'm happy to introduce the speakers that will share their expertise. It's Alisa Vasilyeva, Sustainable Development Project Coordinator, Coca-Cola HBC Global Headquarters. Ruslan Nozdryakov, Senior Director for Corporate Communications and Sustainability, Procter & Gamble in Eastern Europe. Ivan Kukhnin, Partner, Team Leader, Sustainable Development Services, Deloitte CIS. Vladimir Rudenko, Deputy Director of the Department of State Policy and Regulation in the area of Consumption and Production Waste Management at the Ministry of Natural Resources, and Elena Konova, Director for Corporate Communications X5 Group. And through Zoom, we will have Svetlana Gerasimova with us, partner of the Sustainable Development Strategy and Practice Project Office, head of the Expert Council of the Sustainable Development Week. Dear viewers, dear participants who have joined us online, if you have any questions to our speakers, you can use the chat under the streaming window. And before giving the floor to our speakers, we would like to have another poll. We would like to ask everyone who is present here in this audience and those who have joined us online. And our question is, what do you think? Where the retail companies can make the biggest contribution? And you can use the chat under the streaming window if you are online with us, and our offline participants can scan the QR code. You see several options. Please choose one or two. So first is working with suppliers on sustainable, eco-friendly product packaging. Option number two, reducing greenhouse gas emissions that are caused by the activities of companies. Number three, refusal from disposable plastic, throwaway products that are used only once. Number four, use of energy-efficient solutions in stores and distribution centers. And the last one, number five, forming eco-friendly habits among buyers. For instance, discounts for conscious, eco-conscious behavior or presents and events. Everything instilling eco-friendly, sustainable behavior every day. And we can see the results on our screens already, so let us take a look at the results. So many options are ranked almost at the same level, but refusing to use disposable plastic items is leading the list, but another half of participants thinks that it's necessary to help consumers to form eco-friendly habits, and working with suppliers is also ahead, but energy-saving solutions are not that popular, although environmental agenda is very important right now and is considered as a crucial topic. So let us ask our experts about the environmental trends and challenges in Russia and abroad. And now I'd like to give the floor to our first speaker, Ivan Kukhnin, Partner, Team Leader, Sustainable Development Services at Deloitte CS. Ivan, what are the key trends that you are witnessing right now, maybe worldwide trends? And what will define the agenda for retail for the time to come? Thank you for the invitation. I think we need to look in the future and discuss not only the trends that were included in the voting that have to do with plastics and packaging, because that's maybe the first what pops up in our head when we hear about eco-friendliness and sustainability. Let us also mention the trends that are globally very well established and are also in Russia. So first, it's everything that has to do with biodiversity and climate change, stopping the climate change. Retail contributes indirectly a lot to those areas, and we need to consider it from the standpoint of all stakeholders. For the sake of today's discussion, I think that the most stakeholders are suppliers, consumers, and employees of retailers. Yes, definitely, regulators, financial institutions, they are also important stakeholders. But in terms of propagating the proper practices and creating healthy consumption habits, those groups are the most important ones. Everyone has seen in the presentation that 70% of suppliers of X5 group are small and medium businesses, and they need also to implement sustainable practices and recommendations. It's about recommendations and regulations and education and improving the level of knowledge. So we need tools and we need the rules of the game. As we know, X5 Group has already presented the first set of rules, and the company does a lot to roll out the sustainable approach to the supply chain, so that reliability and sustainability of the supply chain are ensured. And apart from the rules of the game and educational things, we need transparency. Industry-wide associations that can audit the suppliers, similar to joint audit collaboration in telecommunications area. But we need to keep a good balance so that a supplier company is not constantly audited by all retailers one after another. So I think that consumers, we as consumers, are the second important stakeholder. No one taught us on being eco-friendly in our school, but my child in the kindergarten participated in the week of environment, and they visited dedicated events, and he knows what biodiversity means. So that is a huge trend, and retailers can support it, and they have a unique opportunity because they presenting shelves to consumers, they also form the habits of consumers. And our research shows that consumers are getting more and more aware of the ingredients and ecological, environmental impact of the goods that they consume. Mostly in the age of 15 to 25, but they will soon become the heads of households, and their consumption habits are formed also by our actions as people who contribute to forming those consumer habits. And for the sake of time, I would like to mention the employees of retail companies, because they are not only working as employees, they also consume. And here it's important to create the right climate, microclimate within the company, the right culture, social aspects such as inclusivity and diversity seem to have no connection to environment, but actually they are very closely tied to sustainable environmental areas. When people feel comfortable at work, and here we're talking not only about their health and safety, but also about the psychological well-being. Even in the Russian market, well-being is perceived as a priority. Our people do not like to complain, and not all people prefer to use preventive actions before they get ill. But I think that employees working in the company and being in the right environment can contribute also to expanding those approaches to their families. And our next speaker, who has joined us online, is Svetlana Gerasimova, partner of the Sustainable Development Strategy and Practice Project Office. Hello. Hello, dear colleagues. I'm very happy to see you in such a sunny studio. It's very nice atmosphere here. Welcome to our meeting. You keep track of the achievements and best practices of Russian companies. Please share your observations. What do you think? What is best developed among Russian companies? What are the challenges that still have to be faced, and what will be the pockets of growth, the areas of potential? Thank you very much. It's after Ivan, it's a special challenge to discuss trends after Ivan. I support a lot what Ivan mentioned. Those are truly worldwide global trends. But we do not have a lot to boast about, because there are only 5 companies in the registry in Russia, and the 6, so it's not always product retail. Those are companies that submit reports, and only X5 Retail is an example that shows that the company has been doing it for more than 3 years. And every time reports are getting more informative, and they include more quantitative and qualitative indicators. And that trend to ecology and plus economics is getting more and more ground. And the government starts to regulate more and to surveil more, and new generations contribute to that environmental agenda. This new eco-generation makes us think about those topics. They are growing up, they are becoming investors, household owners, decision makers, and we need to consider that. All the global polls and local polls show that business is becoming more and more environmentally conscious, and people want to know about what companies are doing. Climate change, the Sustainable Development Goals are represented really well in the company's report. And I like it very much that the company presented its policy and approaches and practical cases and even measurements. And I was rejoiced seeing the results. I couldn't find anything similar among other Russian companies. And I can only support such a leadership approach. There are many things where X5 is the market leader. Yes, the requirements to suppliers were changed, and guidelines were developed for them, and it contributed to changing the market. So here the company is trendsetter. In terms of waste and packaging, I liked the data about the waste that company presented in the report, both in financial and in natural indicators. And that measurement and the reduction of waste is a very good thing. And Igor Shekhterman mentioned that why 2023 is mentioned everywhere. So I understand now that it's based on the current strategy. Carbon emissions and energy consumption and stopping the climate change. Yes, this area is gaining more and more importance, and we see from the report that this is a priority topic. And I would like to highlight some more aspects. Analyzing the product life cycle. It seems to be not a part of the indicators, but people and the society requires the products to be more eco-friendly, safer for the environment. And we want to understand how goods are packaged and how sustainable that packaging is, so that the full responsibility cycle from raw materials to recycling and disposal, that's very important. And I liked it very much that the company analyzed the risks. And yeah, they used the international organization that set out the risks that need to be considered for retailers. Energy efficiency, emissions from cooling facilities, energy management, and everything that has to do with with people's rights and transportation. The climate aspects were also mentioned, and in this industry, everyone declares sustainable development. But judging by the tasks for the nearest future and for a longer term till 2030, so I was truly impressed by what company has done already and what is doing. My question, I read the report in English and it was not available in other languages. And my request to you is, please pay attention to also the national standards and national stakeholders. It is possible to use with a unique mechanism as public approval of reports. You can work with the Russian national system of sustainability reporting. We present your cases to students of business schools, and such real-life cases in collaboration with the educational institutions, that's a very promising thing. And what you are presenting right now, it's valuable for the managers of tomorrow. And I would recommend to set more ambitious goals, because where you're set 5 to 10% of reduction or more, they are not quite ambitious. They're not ambitious enough to meet the goals of the decade of sustainability. Yes, you mentioned that if your employees, more than 300,000 people, can if they can understand that content and cascade it down to their families and friends, that will be a real contribution. And the topic of zero waste cyclic economy, it will gain importance. And I would recommend to pay more attention to standards. And the last point, sharing consumption models. I suppose that can be also useful, because that's what the young generation requests. Thank you very much. And Good luck. Svetlana, thank you very much. You have analyzed the reporting and the activities, and that seems great. And we know that business faces difficulties and challenges in doing anything on their own. We need dialogue with the state. So the next speaker is Vladimir Rudenko. He represents the Department of State Policy and Regulations in the area of production and consumption waste management at the Ministry of Natural Resources. So what do you think? What should be the collaboration between the regulators, between the government and the companies? What can make the biggest contribution to saving the environment? Thank you very much. I would like to start with the following. We as representatives of the government have the following task. The Russian president has issued a decree that requires to reduce by 50% the landfills in Russia. Now it's about 55 to 60 million, and a lot of waste. Some waste is recycled, but now about 90% are put into landfills. By the way, do you know how much recycling facilities we need?
And answering your question about the interaction, I would say that here we have to say that the government and retail, the business, it's not about who helps who. We are partners. Let me give you a simple example. For me, retail is about two things: the suppliers and the consumers. If you are looking at the supply, and I want to thank you, and we have used also your recommendations, such as the methodology for the environmental charge, and you are telling the suppliers that this is bad packaging, we don't recommend it, and as the government, we believe that we will not buy from you if you don't change something. You have a very strong lever, and you know that there is a concept of the wider responsibility or accountability, for that matter, of the producer, and there will be the higher environmental duty, and there will be the basic rate, but for the non-environmentally friendly products, there will be a higher ratio. So we can work from both ends. You will give recommendations as the business, and we will give recommendations as the government. And this will help us also to follow the main areas for the development of the Russian economy according to the presidential executive decree. And as to the interactions, we have all sorts of environmental activities, garbage collection, etc. If you look at X5 as the biggest retailer, you interact with the people who you have to educate about the packaging. Recently, we came up with the initiative. I mean, the minister gave this initiative to Victoria Abramchenkova. It was about electronic waste, and if we extend the usable life, and a very simple phrase: let's give people the choice, let them select whether they buy the high quality or low quality, the good or the bad. When I come to the store, I need to understand if this packaging is good or bad. How can I understand that as a consumer? I will buy what looks beautiful, what looks right in terms of price to value. And if it said very clearly that it will then become a waste, I would probably think twice. Definitely my children too. And if you look at the municipalities and other government authorities, let's think about our interactions and development of joint programs for education in becoming environmentally aware. And a separate thing on regulation, and we do see the businesses and the retailers in particular as partners, and the colleagues from Accord can confirm that when we developed the bylaw, on the next day we put a group of businesses, and colleagues really participated in this actively. They really engaged, and we are going to discuss things, and we do understand what we are going to take into account. You are important to us as people who are working there on the ground, as experts, because it's very different to do some desk research and desk writing, and it's very different to get dirt under your nails. For example, we heard feedback about the ban on selling the products, and the colleagues just said, how will it work? How do we make sure that it is all crystal clear? If the businesses wouldn't stumble, and in the next 10 days we will invite them to participate in developing their weights, and this is going to be very clear and transparent. This is our position. Thank you very much. You are open for partnerships, and I'm sure that retailers will jump at a chance. And now moving on to the suppliers. Without the suppliers, the retailers can hardly do much, and they are trying to make sure that they cooperate with the supplies. And let's speak about this, and we'll speak to Alisa Vasilyeva, who coordinates the sustainable development projects. She comes from the Coca-Cola HSBC global headquarters. What are the interesting areas there? Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for this opportunity. And starting from Mr. Shekhterman said, then as I listened to everyone else, I understood what analogy I see there. If we were talking about the interaction in construction company and the timber processing company trying to touch base, we would look at something that would be important both for the timber processors and the constructors. But when we speak about the retail and the suppliers, there is the third variable to this equation. It's actually a number one. It is the consumer and the questions that we started with, and people actually feel that it is about environmentally friendly health habits. Could you share the charts that I prepared? And a week ago at the Russian Retail Week, we saw the data from Nielsen, and these are the top 5 ecological problems. And the graph to the left shows the number of people in Russia who are concerned about environmental issues. And one could say, oh, why should we even try and do something if people do not respond to the environmental agenda? But the optimists would say that at least this is the audience that is really organized and engaged, and this this is the material we have to work with when we are talking about the healthy and environmentally friendly habits, and the fact that not so many people are voicing their position and overcome maybe everyday inconveniences means that we have to work actively with them and look at what resonates with the consumer. And if you look at the right side of the slide, you will see that the top 5 problems that the consumers are concerned with, they're about the water, air, and even all of a sudden global warming. And next slide. Now, if we move on to what the people in the stores are concerned about and where they are ready to participate. Interestingly, this doesn't always align with what the suppliers and retailers mostly are working. We are talking a lot today about the interaction in waste management, and both the sellers and the suppliers are trying to do something for making sure that the waste is managed better. And this is not in the top 3 problems for the consumers. You will see that it is about saving electricity, saving water, and also the hazardous waste, such as batteries and light bulbs. And the principle that we should use looking for mutual and beneficial cooperation is the materiality principle. What should we do if for the retailers it's very important what happens to the solid waste, and I represent the beverage producer, it's important, and it looks like the consumers don't care. And it seems to me, and I'm sure that Ruslan will build on that, I believe we have to view it more comprehensively. And the main task of our big community or tandems within it is to have a holistic product for improving the environmental awareness, and we have to tell them what are the components of healthy lifestyles, that it includes saving water, electricity, the right waste management at home, as well as a lot of other important components and habits. And creating this holistic understanding in their consumers, hopefully after some time, will help us achieve success and move our country towards a more sustainable development. Thank you very much, Alice. We expect that this will be the case. And now over to Ruslan Nostrikov. He is head of corporate communications and sustainable development of PMG in Eastern Europe. So what should happen? You see that the consumers and that the suppliers and the retailers are on the same page. What happens to the consumers? Actually, I was happy when I saw the report by Igor Shekhterman. We have not as yet arrived, but we are already very much progressing in our journey. And you would see that it is about healthy habits. The consumers define the rules of the game. I would like to focus on 3 things. Everything that is about the basic needs of the company, about the production and the accountability for the products in the process of production. Those are basics, and the companies do that. It's a matter of time. It is already working, and everyone has an understandable strategy, including X5, and we are all going there. The second most important thing, I believe, is that this picture that we see, and you have seen that the environmentally friendly habits are number 2, and it's just 50% that believe they are important. That's what we are lacking. We need to gain scale, and the key to success is the consumer. And the number 3 here, and I would like to give you an example of how it can work. What's important for us is to get across to the consumer what exactly is environmentally friendly, so that they have the expectations that something should be irresistible. I mean, the environmentally friendly products should be so irresistible that they wouldn't have any concerns around their convenience or price. And now moving on to the example, it is a coincidence that today ourselves and X5 have announced a new campaign in Pyaterочка in 16,000 plus stores, and we are testing there the engaging model there. When the consumers buy our products, they should vote for the city or the town where we will open the full-fledged center for processing all sorts of materials. It's not just plastic, it's all sorts of materials. And again, a coincidence, this is a small world and everyone knows everywhere. And we also have here in this room the people who are doing it with us. Konstantin Irzaev, he is waving at us. He's helping us technically together with Kosborka. We're launching this campaign with them for 2 or 3 months. The buyers at Pyaterочка will be able to vote for the city. We have to be realistic. We can have this center, and you can go to the list of 13 cities and vote for it. This creates the engagement. The consumers will set the standards, and this will be the best catalyst to trigger this whole mechanism. And to support this, short video that hit the screens recently.
Вам пакет нужен? Вместо него
Do you need a bag?
купите в Пятерочке.
Buy up to 2 products with your card, register your check, and get the environmentally friendly bag, and you can also win the scooter. Let's save the planet together.
У нас такой развлекательный момент.
Oh, now. Thanks a lot for that. And now to Elena Konova, who is head of corporate communications at X5. We heard a lot of ideas. Everyone is open for cooperation. And we would like to understand what you have learned and what are the prospects there? What are the exciting things to do with all the stakeholders? I believe it was extremely interesting to listen. I would like to speak less and listen more. Your opinion, the focused opinion of the experts, I would say that it is great knowledge, and I'm sitting here and making notes for myself. The most important thing is that we harmonize and we reconcile our positions. And that's the most important thing for us, to be on the same page with our stakeholders. And all the main areas, I have 5 there, they will be our priority. Number 1, the rules of the game. Vladimir said we have to explain to the consumer what is environmentally friendly packaging. We have to agree about it. we have our own standards, but we as the industry have to agree about that. That's the most important thing. Then we will be able to explain it in the right way to the consumer. Number two, own operations. Alisa, that's very important for us because a lot of waste is generated within X5. It is 400,000 tons in X5 alone. It's all valuable material, so we have to learn to further manage that. We have two biggest suppliers, P&G and Coca-Cola, and for us, you are the source of knowledge about sustainable development, etc. But 70% of our suppliers are SMEs who don't have resources like you do. They cannot really invest in the development of their own practices, and our task is to develop those practices, make them available to the market, and to get everyone engaged. Then our practices will spread throughout the market. And what we are speaking about all the time is they are our customers who are pushing us forward. What's important there? I believe they will remain a priority. First of all, give an opportunity to a person, give them a choice to be more environmentally friendly. Even today, they can use the shopping bag rather than a disposable bag, or use the recycled plastic bag, or you can return the bags to our couriers. You can also use your own bottles for household chemicals. You can also experiment with own environmental habits through collecting bottles, toothbrushes and bottle caps. So we are using this. We believe that's an excellent tool. Probably we won't collect a lot, but we are showing to the people, to their children. They discuss that. It's sort of a game, and we have a lot of partners with who we are working on those separate areas. I believe those are extremely important things. Answering to Svetlana, who gave great recommendations. We'll have this report in Russian too. We're thinking about having it verified by the Russian Council of Entrepreneurs and Businessmen, and we already made sustainable development training mandatory, and right now 70% of our employees have done it, and this is a mandatory rule, and hopefully this will also help us move forward. This is very briefly what I wanted to say right now, so that we have time for the questions. And we have a question to you, and we have discussed very topical climate agenda. How are you going to bring the share of renewables to 30%, given most of your stores are in central Russia, where you don't have much access to biosources, and one of the sources is hydro energy. We are practicing this. Probably we will find other opportunities. Now we have the contract with Russian hydro company. We could discuss which renewable sources are better, but we are trying hydro energy. Are you planning to have the electric car charge stations next to your stores? We haven't thought about that. If we hear this request a lot, we'll think, I hear it for the first time. Okay, it will be part of the ideas for the future. And another question for all the speakers: in your personal practices, how do you decrease the environmental footprint, and what are the plans? Who's ready to start? I could start here, and I won't be original here, but the first thing that I started to do a few years ago is separating my garbage, and I try to train the older generation in that. And when I see my parents taking apart cardboard and plastic, I'm proud of this. And you know, we have a lot of examples. We have 60 brands, and I have a lot of selection. When you wash at 30% rather than 40, and with our detergents, you can do that. You save 60% of energy, and you will improve your carbon footprint. Another tip, I learned it recently, although I've been with the company for a long time. It is enough to have 8 if you have 8 items, then use the dishwasher. It is already environmentally friendly, and you will save money-wise and carbon-wise. Shampoos. There are dry shampoos, there are ordinary shampoos, but you've got to understand how much water we're using. And right now in the US and Russia, we have a similar water consumption per household. It is 500 liters per day. 500 liters per day, and thanks to our products we want to bring it down to 50, and you have to reflect about this. Just be mindful when you are using different things. I see that Ivan wants to step in. These are top 3 on my list. Okay, I want to respond. Okay, your personal environmental habits. For 15 years, I have been working at Deloitte, and I started as a financial auditor, but I changed my career because I wanted to be in sustainable development. I wanted to help the Russian businesses become more sustainable, and I completely share what my colleagues are saying, and I'm not taking away my personal responsibility and accountability. I'm trying to exercise those habits, and we talk a lot to the students to improve their awareness, and I'm lucky because I'm doing it every day, participating in events like this, and when I talk to clients like X5 for the past 3 years, and this is my personal impact. Thank you very much, Vladimir. I have the separate waste collection, but I started it recently. I come from the forest, and in the forest it's just 6 million people, the 6 million inhabitants, and there are people in Russia who don't have any access to separate waste collection. That's the Far East, and quite recently I started doing it in the Far East. When I worked there, we didn't even think about this. So that you understand where we were, Yelena. And I come from St. Pete, and my main home is in St. Petersburg, and we don't have a separate waste collection. And we initiated the meeting of the community. My eldest son is turning 25 today, and he brought me into the Green Agenda. He brought me there. He said, that's the way to live. You have to collect, and you have to sort out the waste. And I wanted to say that the younger people, and Ivan said that people who are driving the situation, they are people from 25 to 30. That's very true. That's where the future is. And my personal contribution is to listen to them and follow their suit. Okay, congratulations. And with this, I would like to thank all the participants, and we are going to reduce our environmental footprint all together.
Екатерина, спасибо большое за вашу модерацию. Также я хотел бы поблагодарить всех тех коллег, которые только что были на
Ekaterina,
сцене,
thank you
во-первых, за их
for the
доклады,
moderation, and I would like to thank all the
за
colleagues
эксперты,
present on this
которыми они
stage for
для нас
their
сегодня
reports
специально
and for the
поделились.
information they
Мы
shared
продолжаем, двигаемся
and for the
дальше.
tips and
Коллеги,
tricks. And
онлайн-зрители,
we
сейчас
are moving
объявление
on,
именно для вас.
dear
Во-первых, хочу вас
online
поблагодарить за то,
participants.
что вы стали
Thank you for
участниками, свидетелями нашей первой
joining
сессии.
our
Сейчас у
session
нас будет
today.
небольшая
And
пауза,
now we will
буквально
have
15
a
минут. После этого
short
продолжится
break
наша
for
сегодняшняя
15 minutes.
конференция, и
After
будет
that, we
сессия
will
по номеру
continue
2
our
и
conference
3.
today, and
Ровно
we
в
will have
15:30
sessions
у
number
нас
2
будет
and number
очередное
3.
прямое включение, поэтому,
And
коллеги, вы не
we will
расходитесь.
join us at 15:30.
Мария, Ольга, вы слышите меня?
Да, мы вас слышим.
Отлично. Спасибо вам большое за первую часть мероприятия. Скажите, пожалуйста, можно вас сейчас попросить? У нас тут, скажем так, небольшой вопрос к сегодняшней технологии, как Zoom себя ведет.
Так.
Вы не могли бы попробовать поговорить в русском канале?
В русском канале, да, давайте,
Да.
хорошо. Я могу сейчас переключиться прямо на русский канал, да?
Почему-то у нас не отключается оригинальный звук. Нам кажется, что в русском канале он будет отключаться. Сейчас давайте попробуем.
Смотрите, я не знаю, что там за неотключение русского звука, но я сейчас могу перейти в русский язык. Поговорить там, да?
Да, совершенно верно. А мы сейчас послушаем, отключится оригинальный звук или нет. Спасибо.
Куда пойдем продышимся?
Итак, мы продолжаем нашу сегодняшнюю конференцию и рады приветствовать вас после нашего небольшого перерыва.
Welcome you back after the short break. Yes, during the break, I checked the questions that were asked on the chat, and we will ask those questions to speakers if it's relevant during the session, or provide our reply in the chat, or we will publish the replies later in the chat. There was one question that I would like to answer right away, and the question was whether the pandemic has changed our priorities. And a brief reply is no, our priorities haven't changed. So over the last year and a half, we have been feeling how fragile our world is, how interconnected different parts of the world are. So environment, healthy lifestyle, support of people in need remain our priority. And the pandemic even strengthened the principle that we mentioned. Yes, it strengthened the understanding that not everything is easy. Everything in life is interconnected, and we need to be very cautious, and we need to care of our environment and people in need. So, the pandemic hasn't changed our priorities in the area of sustainability. And I would like to ask a question to you as a transition to our second topic. Do you have any bad habits? Well, I think it's a provoking question. That's how it happens on the stage. So you have some bad habits. Yes, I left them behind. So bad habits is actually a very important matter. Have you noticed that many retailers and producers try to nudge their customers to make healthier choices? Yes, I have noticed it. They want us to live longer and to stay your customers longer. Yes, it's a very rational explanation. I think you are right to some extent, but just to some extent. We deeply care, and as I see my colleagues and people that I know, we want to make healthy choices ourselves and want our customers, our consumers to make those healthier choices. So I suggest announcing the next session. Yes, I think that I'm in my prime. And how do you feel? My energy is for you, for your disposal. All my richnesses, green apples or fresh bread, there is no secret. Just take a look how beautiful I am and how easy it is to be the same. All the riches of the earth and good habits, and you cannot have that on Mars. So let's stay together for a longer time. And I would like to add, there is no X5 on Mars, but that's not for sure, not for long. We're working on it. So are you already in negotiations with Elon Musk? Okay, that's a joke, of course, but thank you for this introduction of the second session. And the name is The Way to Healthy Habits in Nutrition. And I would like to introduce the Tatiana Mikhailenko of the Green Portal. Hello, dear friends. Thank you for joining us here today, and I'm very glad to be the moderator of this session. I'm Tatiana. I'm a blogger and a journalist, and I cover many healthy lifestyle aspects, and I'm developing a project to make healthy lifestyle and more popular in Russia. And I have my own award, Green Awards for manufacturers. A couple of years ago, I wrote Healthy Nutrition and Thinking Life Hacks, where I shared my insights and good practices. So today, with our experts, we will discuss healthy lifestyles and healthy nutrition, debunking myths, if there are any, and highlighting challenges and much simpler things that are much simpler than you might think. And introducing our participants. It's Tatiana Stepanova, Marketing Director, Перекресток, Natalia Щербинина, Professional Psychologist, Alexey Kovalkov, Doctor of Medicine, Dietitian, Sofia Bryantseva, Nutritionist with Nestle, and online, if everything will work fine, we will have Елена Smirnova with us, Head of the Demographics Laboratory and Nutrition Epidemiology, Nutrition and Biotechnology. That's the name of the organization. And let us start with a brief poll. This poll will be available to online users. You just look under the screen, and if you are participating offline, you can scan the QR code. I encourage everyone to join the poll because it would be very interesting to find out what stops us from eating healthily. Option number 1, I can't cope psychologically. I'm addicted to junk food. Number 2, I do not have enough information on how to follow a healthy diet. Number 3, I don't understand why I should eat healthy. There is a lack of availability of healthy food products on the shelves. And number 5, nothing stops me. I have been eating healthy for a long time, and I recommend you to do the same. Please provide your opinion. I'd like to find out what are the opinions of our participants. And it will take a couple of seconds. Yes, we'll need some time. And here we can see the results. And as we see, most of you say that you cannot cope psychologically addicted to junk food. And another popular answer, not enough healthy choices on the shelves. Each of those options have 38% each. And number 5, I have been eating properly, is also quite popular. Many of you eat healthy food. So let us talk more about healthy eating. And even some of you who mentioned that you are addicted to junk food, you might find something new for you and understand that actually it's much easier than it seems. And there are many myths that we can debunk. And I would like to talk to Tatiana Stepanova, Перекресток, Marketing Director. Tatiana, tell us please, why is it important for retail stores? Might seem that stores simply follow the interests and the request from customers. They put something on the shelf and they track and what consumers prefer and provide more of it. On the one hand, you're right. We follow the requests of our customers, and we see that after the start of the pandemic, many people ask for healthier foods. And besides, we as a business are responsible for healthy consumption among the population. So it's a similar agenda in X5 and Перекресток, and we as business want to help our consumers. Every fourth consumer want to buy eco products, bio products, farmer-grown products, but only a small fraction of consumers are happy with the assortment. That's why we continue working with our suppliers. Healthy lifestyle is an important area of our development that will bring us even closer to our consumers. Some interesting things that we are doing. In Перекресток, we have healthy lifestyle corners so that people can easily find the products that they're looking for. Besides, we are collaborating with our suppliers, and every partner can select the attributes that their products have, for instance, gluten-free or organic or vegan, and provide documents that confirm that classification, and we can put those products on the proper shelf to help our consumers to better navigate among the tools. We have our private label, and we see for sustainably conscious people, and we started with dairy. Now we also offer dry goods and even ready-to-eat snacks or ready-to-eat food, and the assortment is constantly growing. We see that our consumers are getting more and more prevalent. We try to understand our consumers better, understand their needs. We understand that consumer profile and expand our assortment to meet the needs. The penetration of healthy lifestyle products in the average ticket has grown. So we see that people buy more and more healthy products. Thank you very much, Tatiana. And what are the criteria today for a product to be named natural or healthy lifestyle supporting? You mentioned organic products or other aspects. So what does it mean for Перекресток, healthy eating? Yes, that's a very important question. We spoke to nutritionists, to customers. That is something that supports the need of people to be healthy. Fruit and vegetables and vegan produce and products for people with diabetes. We have prepared a classification so that our suppliers can better understand how they meet, how they into that structure, and we highlight those products on our shelves. People with a lower sugar content, people with diabetes, people can better navigate. So now that content is constantly growing, the penetration of this category, and I think that by the end of the year it will grow significantly. Thank you very much. That's good news, because the more accessible and affordable healthy products are becoming, the easier it is for people to go there, and we do not have to spend a lot of time and energy anymore to find such products. Yes, it's very fortunate that the needs of customers, consumers, and the products that retail chains are offering meet. More and more people are looking for such products. And I would like to talk to Sophia, nutritionist at Nestle. And my question to you is, what is your opinion? Is it easy right now? Can any person find healthy nutrition in the stores? Thank you very much for this question. I would like I suggest abandoning that classification into healthy and unhealthy products, because it's about balancing your diet in such a way so that you get enough nutrients and include products, food from many groups. And actually, in any store close to your home, in any convenience store, you can find products that can support your healthy lifestyle. You should pay attention to vegetables and fruit that should constitute half of our diet. Potatoes excluded. And whole grains, they contained all the natural components in a well-balanced proportion and provide a lot of fibers, carbohydrates, and energy for our body. We need to use sources of protein such as meat and dairy and fish and legumes, and include fish because fish provides not only protein but also omega-3 fatty acids, and dairy. They provide a lot of calcium, and 2 or 3 portions of dairy every day. It's yogurt or milk or cheese. And remember to drink enough water, enough fluids without sugar or with low sugar contents. As you see, all of those products can be easily found in any convenience store. And by following these rules, you can you can establish good food baskets. Yes, in Перекресток we have prompters. You can find information on what you need to buy to have a well-balanced diet. That's cool, but there is a notion that vegetables and fruit and even meat products and poultry, they are not very healthy because pesticides are used or antibiotics to keep animals healthy. And actually, we work a lot with our suppliers. We take care of transparency of supply chains. We check where the produce is grown, how animals are kept. So we will further develop that area of application. Yes, that's important. We need to consider it to call food really healthy. Sofia, I assume you consult people a lot, and you might know what kind of myths are there in relation to healthy eating. So what are the myths and what is the right attitude to those topics? Maybe our listeners can better understand it. Yes, we live in the information age, and unfortunately, not all the information is confirmed by scientific research. And if you remember, several decades ago, people tried to exclude fats from their diet, but recently fats were rehabilitated or reinstated in their right to be present on our plates, but now people perceive carbohydrates as their enemies. Actually, we shouldn't be afraid of them. They have a place in their diet, and there are myths about some products. Until now, people think that palm oil is poison, but actually that's a natural fat that can be consumed as a part of a healthy diet, just not too much. Many people do not trust gluten, but most of people do not have any problems with digesting gluten. So they can eat gluten-containing food. And another myth that you need to drink at least 2.5 liters of pure water every day, excluding tea and coffee. But actually, our body can get water from soups and from cucumbers, from other types of food.
And one of the widespread myths, it's about some products being completely harmful, some completely good for your health. You have to think logically. And now that you're talking about the water, I felt like having some more. I would like to discuss the following. It is the food of the future. And right now, there are certain trends developing, and there are new formats of this type of food. Could you tell us about what it is and how much is it associated or not associated with healthy foods? And how do views evolve if we are talking about the food of the future? Right now, we have almost 8 billion, and in 2050 they're speaking about 10 billion. And so our task is to make sure that everyone can have the right healthy diets with all the right nutrients. And one of such tasks is to develop the protein sources, which would be a viable alternative to meat, because as you know, meat industry takes a lot of resources, and probably it wouldn't be able to care for the 10 billion. And here we are talking about plant foods and insects. You can also grow meat in a lab tube, and so this artificial meat would be completely identical to the real meat. And 3D printing, even in Moscow restaurants, you can have such a 3D printed squid. And we can also see the substitutes that are very close to meats, and this is also the response to the needs of the consumers who are turning towards going vegan. Speaking about the trends, actually everything around us is moving digital, and definitely this is also about healthy lifestyles, starting from smart watches and pacemakers and step counters, and also the applications that help us assess our foods and help us also order something. And yes, Sophia. And another thing, actually, we have been looking at healthy foods, not just as getting something nutritious. We also make sure that it's not just healthy, but also sustainable. And we are trying to make sure that we use the planet's resources in the right way. And especially when we speak about the food of the future and 3D printing, that's exciting. And the thought that I really liked this trend to going vegan and vegetarian also starts from the assumption that probably there won't be enough meat for everyone, and they are trying to associate it with health. I believe everyone should have their own choice. And now I would like to ask the question to Natalia, our psychologist, and I believe you are working a lot with the clients. Do you have clients who want to learn about healthy foods and overeating? What prevents people from eating in the right way and eat the right amount? And what are the psychological tricks that can help people? Thank you very much. Yes, we do have a lot of clients who ask about that. And what I would like to discuss here, it is our physiology. We have moved too fast, and for centuries we lived in communities, and hunger was the anchor for our brain. It's time to start moving. When you are hungry, start moving, start doing the push-ups or the sit-ups, and this is no magic, it's simple physiology. And one of the main points here is that we are not thinking about that, and people start viewing hunger as something hostile and negative emotion. And very often people cannot withstand hunger. And the next problem is the problem with the eating behaviors. Whenever I'm sad or happy, I cannot process that. I start eating. I move the signal from my head to my stomach, and it somehow eases my pain. There are some people who feel emotional pain, and they could start cutting themselves or pinching themselves. And people have to learn to cope with themselves and to understand why they're eating. Are they eating because they are hungry, or to cope with something I cannot cope with otherwise? And what is the right way? Some smoke, some turn to alcohol. And what do psychologists recommend? You know what, if we are talking about emotions, the dietologists usually advise to use apps like Fat Secret. And what I like is the emotional diary. You don't stop yourself. You don't exercise the willpower. It is a limited resource. You start writing what you feel, and after a couple of weeks, you at least can understand what sort of emotions lead to this state, and then working with this emotional state. For example, when it is a maternity leave for a woman and her children are asleep, and she starts eating, and this is an association of food and relaxation. And if she keeps a diary, she starts to understand that she needs to cope with her stress different ways. And when people go shopping, you know this is an inner child, and this is when you go shopping and you want it here and now, and that's great. When this inner child is motivated and stimulated in any other way rather than food. Grandmas and moms very often express their love through food, and you visit your grandma, and at the end of summer you get fat, and if the mom doesn't know what the child throughout the day, then it means you are a bad mom. If you don't think just about this, and you have to eat, so grandmas make sure children eat a lot. And these are the moms that are passing on these behavioral patterns to us. And it's always about emotions. So avoid emotions. Probably somebody likes buying clothes, someone loves spas, somebody meeting friends, but it's about getting out of the rational position, or the position of appearance that many live with. And when my inner child is internally satiated, not hungry, then they don't crave for foods that much. Through understanding ourselves, our emotions, through understanding what leads to overeating. Yes, brains can do wonders. Thank you very much, Natalia. And now let's talk to Elena Smirnova, who is joining us via Zoom. And we can see Elena. And Elena is head of demographics and epidemiology of nutrition, and we can see and hear you well. And I wanted to ask you about the following. Do you believe that there should be some kind of healthy eating standards for everyone? What is healthy lifestyle? are there any formal criteria? Talking about healthy eating, starting from March 2020, this became a part of the federal law about the quality of food products. And now healthy eating and the principles of healthy eating are part of this law. There are definitions, and or whatever we discuss, anyways, we'll go back to what is written in the law. In Russia, it is defined in regulation. And I will agree here with Sophia when it comes to wording the main principles, and it's very close to what we have in the law, definitely. It's not about the products that are called healthy products. No, we are talking here about the diet. We are talking about the diets, and in terms of the regulation, there are no healthy or unhealthy foods. There are healthy and unhealthy diets. Speaking about healthy lifestyles and the criteria for that, I would say that the WHO has already taken care of us, and there are indicators to assess healthy lifestyles. First of all, no smoking, adequate physical activity, 150 minutes of moderate exercise or 70 intensive per week, and also no more than 80 a certain amount of alcohol, and two criteria for foods, that is consumption of vegetables and fruit. It should be minimum 400 grams. It is 2-3 portions of vegetables, 2-3 portions of fruit, and no more than 5 grams of salt per day. Those are the official criteria of healthy lifestyle. Excellent. And you can find it in law. No, the criteria for healthy lifestyles are part of WHO documents. I wouldn't be able to give you the number of the document from the top of my mind, but it is a well-known definition as to the principles of healthy eating. If you look at the federal law about the quality of food products, you will find the principles of healthy eating and the principles of healthy diets. And could you tell us why is the government introducing this, and why is there the need to make it regulation, and what incentives should the government take to promote healthy eating, and what measures are already being taken? As far as I understand, if it is part of the regulation, the efforts have been stepped up. Exactly. Actually, we are living in really exciting times. Starting from 2019, the government is paying unprecedented attention to healthy eating and healthy lifestyles in particular. And definitely there has always been the health education in place, but the efforts that we are seeing both in terms of regulation and promoting the principles of healthy eating and raising their awareness, I would say they are without parallel. And it all started in 2019 with a national project called Demographics, and looking at this law, we understand that this is the result of the first year of the project. It would be interesting to understand why this is happening and why the government wants to do it right now. Okay, we're going to move on soon. it's very simple. The goal of the government is to ensure longer lifespans, to decrease mortality, and make sure that people are healthy. And nutrition is one of the main factors. It's more than 50% of building humans' health. And unfortunately, the eating habits in Russia left much to be desired. And definitely, we have the main in nutrients and energy-wise, it is fine. But the structure of consumption is far from ideal, and we have excessive calories in the food, or we consume a lot of salt and sugar. Yeah, and old habits, and this means the obesity, and right now obesity is quite high in Russia. If more than 60% of Russian population have these risk factors in place, and this is putting them in danger of osteoporosis, diabetes, and cardiovascular diseases. Yelena, thanks a lot for being with us and explaining it all to us. Straightforwardly, we have the same goals ourselves and the government. The government also wants us to be healthy. And now I would like to ask the question to Alexei Kovalkov, who is a medical doctor. Alexei, tell us, is it all in the genes and everything else is irrelevant? And should we exercise and eat healthily? Or is it all about the genes? If we are looking at cucumbers, for example, I have cucumbers in my greenhouse, and it is a great product that was bred by the people. But then we put it in the salt solution, and depending on what we do with this cucumber, whether we pickle it or consume it fresh, the outcome is different. Health is given to us for free. That's why we don't give it much thinking or cherish it. We are talking about the diets, and the dietologists say that it shouldn't be just about good foods. That's a must. Definitely, they should be high quality, but they should also be well balanced. And we've got to understand that the way a small girl eats, or an old woman, or a bodybuilder eats, and even throughout the cycle, women lose iron, and they should take more iron, and there can be additional diseases, so iron wouldn't be digested. And academician Pokrovsky, head of the Nutrition Institute, said that eating should be balanced individually, given the individual features of each patient and the tasks of the doctor. And we understand that it's impossible to select individual diets for each person, especially in their store. And the way out is education. And they teach a lot of subjects and things at school that can never be used, applied in life. You can hardly remember any of your chemistry or mathematics formulae, but how to combine correctly the food products, that proteins should be different, that the biological makeup is important, the microflora is very important, and this is something that the children should be trained early in life, and the government stepped out of this. I believe if the stores take on this function, they will bring up the new generations who will come to their families with this knowledge, who will tell their mom, you are not buying the right foods because you come to the yogurt shelf. There are 50 on the shelf. How do you select? They only look at the advertising with the price, but when they know that this is calcium and it has to come with phosphorus. If it is too much phosphorus, then calcium will not be consumed. If it is there is too little phosphorus, but calcium will get on the vessel walls. And you have to add magnesium and vitamin B. And this is mindfulness and the understanding of why they need to eat the right things. They understand that they need to do it so that their family is healthy. They don't waste money on the pharmacies. Half of the budgets of elderly people is spent on the pharmaceuticals, and you don't want to do the window dressing. You want to lay the right foundations for the house of your health. And the government stepped out from this. I believe it would be great if McDonald's and the retailers would take on the children, the young people, would have some master classes, meetings with dietologists, probably even online. It would be a great start, and then they would raise the new generation of consumers. That would be great. Thank you very much, and that really resonates. And I would add from a different perspective, my yoga instructor is always saying your body is the new car that life gave to you, but how you drive it is up to you. You can use it on bad roads and break it, or you can make sure that you wash it, take care of it, and then this car will serve you for many years to come. I agree with you completely, and sorting out all of those things around marketing are difficult, and the responsibility among others should be also on the government and the stores. They should help the consumers find their way. But now we are living in the era of education online and short courses online. I have the online school for health and lifestyles businesses, and I believe a lot more consumers could become better educated, and I believe our education is the least educated. Yeah, but there is a flip side to this. When people who are in healthy lifestyles, who are providing all sorts of slimming marathons, who are not responsible for anything, is different from the doctors, and who don't know a single thing about health, and who are only about PR or subscribers or about money, and they are doing great damage to the people. And people, for example, you see that people have problems with their health, which should exclude meat, and they recommend eating more meat. Now it's the time for the professionals rather than the amateurs. And I believe we are going to a new stage, and this area of education is going to be licensed, and hopefully the quality will be boosted. We have some examples. For example, we understand that education should start early, because this is when the right habits are built, and we have the social programs, and it started in 1989, and we see that almost 1.5 million school children are taking this, and our social responsibility is about helping parents. And big companies are starting to care about this, and we don't have much time, and we have time for one question, and the question is to Tatiana, and this is the question from our broadcast. Why do you have unhealthy products? For example, the palm oil products. I'm just reading. Thank you. And like I said before, it's important to give people choice, and we have to tell them what we can give them. There are some myths around health, and it's important for us to let people that we give people choice, and we have to explain that it's about choice.
I would like to thank all the participants for this interesting discussion, and hopefully our offline and online participants liked it. I think that all the questions discussed were really relevant. Goodbye, and thank you for your participation. The majority of our conference is already behind us, but another important topic is ahead of us, and we'll talk about developing social programs, supporting the underprivileged. Yes, I completely agree. That is quite interesting, and that is very important, because everything that people do, they do it first for themselves and for the future, and for those who will continue living on this planet, the future generations. Yes, when we discuss sustainable development, and no business can be sustainable if there are groups of population that are not supported by anyone. So the question is, whom shall we support? What are the right forms, the modern technologies? All of that will be discussed during our third session. And I would like to give the floor to the moderator. But wait a second, let's take a look at the screen, and then we will announce the participants. Do you know, it's great that when you have a reliable friend that shares your opinions, maybe sometimes you do not notice how you help me to take care of yourselves. You have many good-hearted people trying to help others. I'm happy to watch you and help as much as I can. It's good that we met today to act and to think together. That's our mutual choice for the sake of the future. And I will take care of you. And the topic of our next discussion is retail as driver of social interactions. And I'd like to give the floor to Ksenia Toporkova, the head of Plus One City project. And this project is a partner of our conference, and she will invite and introduce all the speakers of this session. Hello, everyone. I'm Ksenia Toporkova, and I'm the head of the Plus One City project. It's a navigator to use socially significant services, and that's why it's a great honor and pleasure for me to facilitate this session. Compared to where we started 2 years ago, the majority of useful services were not tied to retail, but now about 30% of socially significant services are in the area of large stores, and it's very good that those services are present in large stores because more people can see that. And today we have Oleg Leonov with us, representing Clean Alert Search and Rescue Team, Sergey Goncharov, General Director of Peterочка, Ilya Oskolkov-Tsentsiper, founder of Tsentsiper Company, Nikita Kukushkin, Russian film and theater actor, founder of The Hell Project, and Yulia Nazarova, president of the Rus Food Bank. But to start, a brief survey for our viewers and participants. So the question is, what is the social role of retail? Number one, low food prices and their affordability. Number two, food support for the underprivileged. Number three, involving consumers in charity projects. And four, providing a comfortable and safe space around home. Dear friends, you can use the survey QR codes, or you can use the link below the streaming window. So while we are waiting for the results of the survey, do you have any forecast? What will be, which option will be the winner? I think low food prices will be under top two, and food support for the underprivileged. I think so too. Yes, that's. Are there any other opinions? Maybe involving consumers in charity projects? We would like to, but we are trying to forecast the opinions of the majority of voters. I think that low food prices is the key option, seemingly obvious, but as a head of the project that deals with those aspects, safe environment around home is important, and retail assumes a very important role here, because when you have a large, nice, well-kept store nearby, when you are followed by somebody suspicious in a dark evening, you can enter this store and you can feel safer. Yes, there are results, and as we guessed, low food prices and affordability of products, and number two is creating comfortable, safe neighborhoods and and also food support and involving consumers in charity projects. And today I would like to give the floor to Sergey Goncharov. My question to you is, why is Peterочка engaged in social programs? Hello. You know, Peterочка is a major retail company in Russia. More than half of the country's population visit us. And speaking of the total number of people that visit us daily, it's 13 million people every day. And if we add 260,000 employees plus their families and our business partners and suppliers, more than 8,000 companies and families of people working there, then you can understand that the scale of our business is huge. And that huge number of people come in touch with us every day. We think that we as a commercial organization, being such a large and successful company as we are, should be socially responsible. And by the way, speaking of X5 group, X5 has more than 300,000 shareholders. Most of them are just usual people, households, families that hope to get additional income from dividends and the share price increase. So when we are speaking of such a huge coverage and scale, we need to be very conscious of the impact, how we impact the society. And it's very important to care for our community, a cornerstone of our consumer value offering. Sergey, could you tell us, please, how you selected the areas where you develop your social responsibility programs, and how did you approach selecting the partners? We have been working with Rus Food Bank for a long time, and we have been investing for a long time into such programs as Basket of Kindness and Candy of Kindness, Foundation Lifeline. So we convenience and trust and scale and scope was very important. And besides, I'm inspired by our program safety islets that we launched together with Lisa Alert, search and rescue team. We asked, we searched for those opportunities, and now we helped more than 1,800 people to come home. Did you face any problems on that path? You know, in such a big organization as ours, how shall I say it? At the beginning, that process took some time. We needed some time to launch this process and to gain momentum and to scale it. But when we mention it often, when we convey this message to colleagues, to employees, and most importantly, when we understand why we do it, what is our purpose, it becomes smoother and easier every time. Besides, we try to think what else we can do, considering our large scale, because we have 17,000 stores in our Peterочка network. We invited one of the best companies in Russia to cooperate with us, the Tsentsiper Bureau, and Ilya and his team conducted a large survey for Peterочка. We talked to families, to common people, what they are concerned about, what they care about. And we launched several pilot projects in 5 cities, if I'm not mistaken. It's Moscow, Nizhny Novgorod, Polevoi, Novorossiysk, and Krasnoyarsk. And we found evidence that our stores are hubs of local communities that unite, to some extent, people around them. That's why, after launching this survey, Ilya will share more on it. Now we are evaluating the results, and we want to scale this project up and invest more. Thank you very much. And now let us move on to the next panelist, Ilya. How when Peterочка addressed you, what was your reply? Actually, the request was to help understand what are the distinctive features of Peterочка and what is the role that Peterочка is playing in society. We conducted a large survey, and one of the things that we understood is that Peterочка stores in large cities and in small towns are natural centers of local communities. It's not always very funny, but sometimes it's the only place where it's warm and good lighting and good products on the shelves, and people meet other people, neighbors, schoolmates, workmates before the checkout, in the checkout lines. And we came to the conclusion that contributing to development of local communities is something that Peterochka can support naturally. It means that Peterochka can help people to find out about initiatives, help people help others through making them aware of what is going on around them. It doesn't mean that we will play the role of entertainers, but we perceive it differently. There are many people in every community that are ready to contribute to society. They simply need a coordinating center, a coordinating impulse. And that's what Peterochka can do. And it increases trust, and people like Peterochka more, and like the community that they live in more, and create better social bonds. And by putting people in contact with each other, we help people help others. Because even underprivileged people have the need to help others and to feel contributing to others. And to do it locally, it's much easier. It's much easier to help people living in the same street. We perceive such people as neighbors. It's much easier, it's more natural to help such people than helping people who share their sad stories on the TV. So, after gaining that valuable experience, after learning what is there around stores, small NGOs, and different kinds of activities and clubs, and we see that people, we felt a lot of heartwarmth. We call it giants taking a bow or kneeling to see people around us. So when a huge organization gets in contact with people, it creates a very good momentum. So the results of our pilot projects were really good. Now the challenge is to find opportunities to roll it out for such a huge organization as Peterochka. So 5 projects proved to be successful. Now we'll implement the same concept in 50 stores, and we hope that Peterochkas will soon be perceived as a local social center, and therefore Peterochka will contribute to taking good care of local communities. Please share more on how you engage people in contributing to those social demands. That approach is very interesting, and I would like to mention that I personally occasionally witnessed opening Peterochka in a tiny town in Pskov region. I passed by, and it was an incredible event for the local community, because they perceived as, hey, Peterochka is there since we exist, and it was a true festival for them, and it became a center of it's Gdov town in Pskov region, very far from us. So my question is, how do you involve local citizens? Because that's the most important thing. And another comment. Yes, I agree. It's true. When small people are supported by big companies, it is, on the one hand, recognition, and that's very valuable for large companies and for common people, because it's incredibly supporting when you feel the supporting hands of big companies. In the framework of this project, Peterochka is engaged in many other projects, but I'll speak about this one. We give the tools to people who live around and who want to contribute something. We have to establish contact. We do not offer them what to do because they are quite enthusiastic and they have their own ideas. So we create a very simple set of tools that people can use through online channels, through the equipment placed in stores where people can invite their neighbors to participate in trekking tour or participating in recreational activities or, for instance, to clean up the area in the neighborhood. So we collected hundreds of such locally born stories that were suggested by people, and as soon as such notes and as soon as that information is posted on the walls in our store, that gains more attention and becomes more popular. So we wanted to break some distrust of people, and we helped people to learn about the activists that are living around, create a couple of precedents, good success stories, and involve our employees, because our employees are local experts and ambassadors of our brand. And if they like what we do, and their neighbors living in the same house or in the same street will trust that also. So we used contacts with local enthusiasts. We used our employees and to spread the message, and it was important to break down the barrier so that people can easily join the community, so that it's very clear and simple and easy to understand, and everybody likes to play and likes to be engaged, and then people get inspired. Yes, and such a behavior becomes normal, and when and you understand that if you want to remove trash from the local park simply and you want to initiate such cleanup action, you simply go to Пятерочка and you can post your invitation in Пятерочка, and others will see it and they will join you in that green effort. And if 3 people join you, it is more than just 1 person. And that becomes a new norm, and that community can live differently due to the fact that have that new point of contact. Thank you. Thank you very much. And now, giving the floor to Yulia Nazarova. My question to you is, what are the most efficient formats of partner relationships with companies? We are talking about the Rus food bank. Thank you very much. It's very hot. That's why I'm trying to put myself together, to put all the thoughts together. I would start with the global challenges that we are facing. That's the start. We have been talking about it a lot, especially during the pandemic, to fight hunger, and it's clear that there is no outspoken hunger in Russia, but there is malnutrition. And the sustainability goals of the United Nations were ratified by many countries, and now they are not just abstract goals, but they now live in projects. So, and we are balancing as food banks. We approach food bank, we approach Пятерочка and Carousel, Перекресток, and we mentioned those systemic approach that global task cannot be resolved globally. We need local effort, and we collaborate with largest producers and retailers that add us to their supply chain.
The number of foods that are not selling and that otherwise would be thrown. And on the other hand, when we work on the mechanics, we see how we can involve the suppliers and the clients locally. And building up on what was said, I believe the most important thing in selecting the project is about its systemic nature and addressing the fundamental tasks and doing that on a regular basis. And that's how the basket of kindness emerged. We don't like to reinvent the wheel, and we try to use the same mechanics. It was called the food right. That's the format of collecting foods at the store. This was the basket of kindness we started with. This was one store in Perm, I believe. And since then, we have been trying to make sure that the formats of food collection, that they would grow further. Now, how does it actually happen? The basket of kindness, I believe everyone has already participated there as volunteers and as people who contributed butter, tea, buckwheat, you name it. You enter the store, there are volunteers, so you are buying foods for yourself. You are still in the context of your life, but then you can give it to the volunteers, and this is what we then give to those in need. Julia, I have a very simple question. You said an important word, systemic. This is what we are trying to adhere to. Very often, the companies are kind of briefing the NGOs for the tasks that are not very much aligned with the strategic goals. Now, what about the systemic nature? We need to make sure that the NGO sector is an expert, and this is definitely possible. We saw it during the pandemic, and saying that we need money or we need to do a project is not enough. There should be a project that is very well considered, that is offered to the business, and if the business says that this is aligned with their vision. And the most important thing, it's not just about the systemic nature, it's also about the type of the business. It should be fitting. You cannot speak about the project for saving penguins. Anything is possible. We can talk about anything, but it will hardly help if you talk about that in a sauna, but it will be too far from the business. It will not be systemic, and so it will be outside your control. And what does it mean that the project is systemic? Before it was the offline store, just one. Every single year we're adding more regions and stores, and a few years ago we started doing the online. It's also an organic store. People started calling saying, you do collections in the in Chelyabinsk, and I live in Novosibirsk. Should I go there? No, you don't have to go there. This was the answer. The online format of the basket of kindness. You can go and contribute foods and participate, and that's very important. Not just to start doing something, but to develop further, responding to the challenges of the time and the situations that we are in. And we were ready for the pandemic because the online was the only format that was operational and that helped us assist families, for example, who lost jobs and they had nothing to feed their children with. And so these big baskets of food with basic foods helped people get through the isolation, the lockdown, and get back to normal. I believe, as a person from the non-commercial sector, I believe that the expertise of NGO should be versatile and in-depth, and then the business will not go that far into the details. Everyone will understand that they are doing their own business. And I believe everyone should be doing their job. Thanks a lot for your project and for this contribution. And now over to Oleg Leonov, the coordinator of Lisa Alert. Oleg, with the development of technologies, is it easier or harder for you to do your job? You know what? There are two trends there. So the picture is mixture. On the one hand, the technologies are developing, and we have the drones, GPS, and a lot of different gadgets. Seemingly, it should really help in searching for people, because that's what we do. We search for people and save them, and it does help us, the neural networks help us find more people. But the second trend is that people start relying too much on the technologies. They rely more on the technologies themselves. Before, a person wouldn't go 3 kilometers into the forest. Now people believe they have a smartphone with maps. They would go 3 kilometers deep into the forest and somebody will find them. They would go into the thick of the forest where the smartphone stops operating, and they are stuck there in the woods, similarly to what the situation would have been decades ago. The technologies are somewhat helping us, but people both in the towns and in the countryside, a lot more people are getting lost, or people don't rely on themselves only, but also on their smartphones. And over the 10 years of your work, that's a long time. Have you seen the change in the attitude to charitable projects, to your project or to any other? You know, it's not a charitable project, it's the volunteers project to search for people and save them, and the attitude is changing primarily through information. And the more we speak about the problem of people lost, about how they can get disoriented and how we need to help them, more and more people respond to us, and there are more chances for a grandma who got lost to get back home. And Peterочка, convenience stores, they're helping a lot. Why? Because the grandma leaves home. Where would she go? Left, right? She goes to the right and she says Peterочка there. To the left, she says Peterочка. With a high probability, she will end up there in Peterочка. And the fact that the personnel is trained, they are schooled and skilled, and they care, and they spot those disoriented people and help them get back home. Very often, a grandma and a grandpa don't get back in the first hours. For 3 weeks, people are lost in a town, in a city, and then the customers think, this must be a homeless person. Oh no, we sort it out, and it turns out somebody is looking for this person, and there are amazing stories that are happening daily. We bring those people back home, and the information, and this is what is very important in our work, and Пятерочка helps in that, and definitely it's about saving people. And now we're moving to our last speaker for today, Nikita Kukushkin. How do we make sure that we maximize their coverage? How do we involve the largest possible audience in good projects, especially young people? And apart from being an actor, Nikita is also the co-founder of the project called HELP. I will start from afar. I believe during the fourth industrial revolution, what we are witnessing is similar to what happened 2,000 years ago. But the difference is that now the commandments will be in the smart contracts and leading to the younger generation. The younger generation wants the blockchain, decentralization, transparency, and being on the right side of the law. Decentralization, transparency, the rule of law, and blockchain. And talking about the app that we came up with, you can select a particular person on the map of the country, see their particular need, and if you transfer the money there, you can also see who else is helping, and you also get the notification whenever the food is delivered, and you get a picture. And right now we have 45,000 users, and it is one push notification away from us. And I understand that the apostles of the project, Anastasia Ivleeva or Alexander or other celebrities. And definitely this funnel and the accent on this aid Pomosh project is achieved through the opinion leaders who help attract the attentions of the youth to the most important principles. And how else can you bring around the young audiences? And why do we watch the video clips of Morgenstern? Isn't it a new rep to help the others? Doesn't it give you a boost? Helping the others is a natural need, like drinking water that we have here. It's the natural need like anything else. And irrespective of our views and ideologies, it's about love, compassion, and respect. Everything else is demagogical. There is a very specific pit in the road, and we have to cover that up. We have to repair it, and that acknowledges that going forward will be part of our social home, will help us transparently ensure the lives of people like ourselves, and the trust to the project brings around new audiences. Thanks a lot, Nikita. Another question, what do you think? We understand that there are a lot of innovative approaches and technologies in charity projects, but if you let your imagination fly, what are the innovations that could appear in our area? Probably I would rather speak about our project. We started with the older people and food baskets, but now we are present in 19 cities, and the number is growing. And we are also going to work with the other categories of people in need. There will be large families and other needs within the same app. You will be able to help different people in need and do it transparently, helping person to person. And moreover, we have the system developed developed that we will announce somewhat later, and it will help connect all the people and all the charitable organizations within one single app, or you will be able to see a foundation in Cheboksara, for example, which needs to create a website. So it will be a social network which will help people help each other do good things. That's from the perspective of the Pomosh assistance project. But speaking about what's in store for us, I would like to thank Tatiana Stepanova, the marketing head of Перекресток. Thanks to Huze, and also hi to Alina. Tomorrow we are announcing the partnership of our project and Pomosh project. So if somebody wants to join us at 4, join us. Okay, you are sharing exclusive information. We are going to announce our partnership with Перекресток, and I believe this will be a great boost for the project, and this will ensure exponential growth and more people in need, and there will be more transparency. Thank you very much, Nikita. We are running out of time, and let's select just one question. And this question is to Sergei Goncharov, and the question is like this. I believe this is about Peterочка. Going forward, how are you planning to develop your charitable programs? First of all, I believe that it is a very broad question, so probably, yeah, this is too high a level of abstraction. We could speak about it for a long time. At the end of the day, we are planning to invest in the projects where we are already participating. We discussed our cooperation with Rose Foundation, the Basket of Kindness, as well as the search for people is alert. We are planning also to boost the project that we started with the Design Bureau Sensiper. But we are very open to any type of innovations. It was really interesting to listen to Nikita, what he told us. Probably it makes sense for us also to do some thinking around that. But another thing to add is that sometimes I'm asked, and how does it add up, X5 or Peterочка? It is a commercial for-profit organization. Why would you care about the community? They would say, you are a for-profit organization. You should be about shareholders' money. But going back to what I said before, I believe that a successful organization is best fitted for also being highly charitable, because when you have resources, you have something to share. When we are saying that we are taking a lot from the community, from the society as the for-profit business, our duty is also to give back to the community, and definitely we are going to move forward. I'm not going to give you the exact names. We'll continue doing what we did, and we are very open to the new opportunities. That's the end of this session. Thanks a lot. And I'm sure that you have learned about wonderful initiatives and projects. Thank you very much. And now I would like to thank our colleagues, partners, everyone who joined us here online, offline, for your participation. There were many of us. We were together, and I believe we became more sustainable even today. And I would like also to say that you participated in the Basket of Kindness. During the break, I was able to make some special buying and I was among the donors. And today we are transferring 1.5 million rubles to the Rose Foundation. Hopefully, there will be many contributions after today conference, and this is the sign that there are many of us. We are all together, and we are ready to make the right choice. And I would like to share a personal observation in our working process. When we are doing all of those projects, we see a lot of difficulties in organization, and sometimes we can go down. But today is the day when I clearly understand that this is all for a reason. We should continue. People get involved, and for me, it is a very inspiring day. Great. And at the beginning, I had a question: why am I here? And we discussed environment, health, and the society, and we discussed a lot of things, separating garbage and eating separately, and helping foundations and environmental approaches to waste and water. But what I'm taking away is that I should start with myself. We're discussing partners, retailers, and suppliers. That's my takeaway. We are what we eat. So I recommend everyone that you consume in the right way, and retail will help us. Alexander Potechin and Yelena Konova. And see you soon, guys. Thank you.